Hello, welcome. All right, so we're traveling through a particular sequence. This will be the second class in the sequence on a particular, it's a set of alignment principles that get the dubious title of backbend neck, which might sound kind of scary or wild, but if you think of your whole spine and the way your legs and your pelvis mostly hold you throughout life as the dominant place of gravity, and then you learn how to stack your bones in such a way that you're really using the legs appropriately. And we have a lot of key actions in the Anusara yoga practice that when we want to do a back bend, we have active feet, steady shins, thighs back and wide. We lengthen and then pull the tailbone down to hold us into the earth. We also find that we need an inner body bright and a back body full experience. And this radiance of being, when it settles down onto the strength of the legs and we start to apply something in the dancer's world that we just maybe, I don't know if we talk about it specifically, but it's a concept called stacking your bones. And if you can think of how you're going to build a foundation of anything, a home, a structure, a backbend, and you want to have something that you can really stabilize below as you expand and rise up. So your spine has this beautiful column and it's connected to your pelvis. It's connected to your ribs and connected to your collarbone, and in a very not so direct way connected to your shoulder blades. So once we get up here into the arm line and the upper body, things get way more squirrely. So today's practice is about inner body bright, maintaining a radiance, not just on the front, not just on the side, but really a lot in the back body as well. And then can we maintain that radiance and learn how to draw the head of the arm bones, this upper part of your arm, into your shoulder socket. So if you just let your arm bone extend, and you'll feel your back body get really round, which is a good thing. And we want to learn how to keep the roundness, but pull the arm bone into your shoulder socket. And we start to move the head of the arm bone into the back plane of the body. And that's, so we'll combine those two practices today. And when we stack the bones in such a way, and we start to build radiance upon rooted, then we really open up to the underlying reason we practice, which is to remember that through the practice of yoga, we can line up our physical body so that the purity of energy can stream through us in a more vibrant, unencumbered way. And in so doing, this practice takes on a journey. And for each of us, we're at a different place physiologically, emotionally, and with the mental understanding of the principles of alignment. So as we start to line ourselves up with it and we see what's possible, we start to find greater capacity to hold joy in the expanding postures. So I invite you to close your eyes, bring your hands to your heart. And as you bow your head in, like your chin towards your chest, try to round, not from the waistline, but more from where your floating ribs end. It's where your floating ribs meet a certain part of your spine. That's called the thoracolumbar juncture, where the upper thoracic spine meets the lower lumbar spine, and the floating ribs attach at that bottom juncture, right in the upper middle, or lower middle and upper lower back. And we'll just Then you just take your elbows a little wider and gently pull the head of the arm bones towards the back plane of your body, and then stack yourself up. So you lift yourself upright onto the fullness and the radiance that's holding you. We'll take 3 beautiful ohms together and 1 round of the Anusar invocation. And the reason being, I've mentioned Chit Ananda, and it's the second line in the invocation, Sat Chit Ananda. And this Chit Ananda is about opening up to the purity of consciousness that is the being of all. And when we remember and line up with that, we feel the Ananda, that joy, that bliss of being. Deep breath in, big breath out. Inhale. Om. Om. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachidananda Murtaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tehidase. Om. Please release your hands and open your eyes. And take a blanket if you have one. Set it out in front of you. And then crawl up on it. I'm going to keep one block handy. Standing up on the knees, stagger the knees so your left knee is slightly in front of the right knee. Take that block and bring it down, and then try to get above your kneecap. So you'll just drag it a little bit forward, lift the back foot, and reach back and find it. Find your foot. Now do this for me. So everybody in the room today got a hold of their foot. That's great. So now press your buttocks toward your heel and then pull your tailbone down until the lower back and thoracolumbar hinge seems like it fills in to the back body. Can you hold that? Now lift the elbow and try to lift the head of the arm bone, that round upper bone at the top. Lift it towards the sky. If this feels good and right and beautiful, then you can stack it up. Lengthen the tailbone, pull the tailbone down, lift the rib cage, lift your heart, but keep pulling up with that elbow and the upper arm bone. This is a variation of Ustrasana, of Camel Pose, where we really work the back body full and the head of the arm bone back. And so we're not just lifting the head of the arm bone up, but we're also pulling it towards the back plane of the body. And then we've got to stack the throat and the neck so that the outer ear lines up with your outer upper shoulder. Then you can lengthen more through your legs and open your throat to the degree that you feel like you can talk. You feel like you can open your throat. You can open your jaw. And create a little lion face pose here. Stick your tongue out. And then curl it back in from the base of the pelvis up through the heart and pull it back in. We'll have a seat, regroup. And the whole side that you just worked should feel more open, probably a little stronger, a little more radiant. In fact, if we were to take and look at a mirror, that side of you could even be elevated compared. And yeah, it is. And that head of the arm bone would feel like it's not rounding as far forward if I were to look at you. So let's do side two. And you'll stagger the right knee slightly in front of your left. Take that block. Get above your kneecap if you can. And reach back to find your foot. First phase is you're going to bow in, square your hips, and pull the buttocks to the heel to the buttocks. Keeping the back body full, start to lift the elbow and lift the head of the arm bone. Yep. If you feel good, or if you want to stay here, this is a deep pose, I know it. If you want to go deeper, we'll stack it up. Trust your pelvis, trust your back body, so don't let that back bend go way big, which might look good as an end point, but it's not our beginning point. So stay full, lift, head of the arm bone, and then we can stack the throat. But the throat is dependent upon your tailbone pulling down and your rib cage pulling down and filling in the back body. Now you can open the throat a little bit or a lot and see what that does to the shoulder and your breath. And you want to feel good here, like you could hang out here and you just want to lift the sternum. This is a deep fascial opening. Now stack it up in reverse from the hips to the ribs to the heart. Let yourself out. Good job. So that was a variation of Ustrasana. And we'll take dog pose. Dog pose is a counterbalance pose, which puts the body in a less than 90-degree forward fold and the capacity to keep working the same principles of alignment, inner body bright, head of the arm bones back. And inhale to your knees. Hands to your hips. So a variation of Ustrasana, the camel pose, where we're not going to touch our heels today. So let go of that. And we'll keep the shoelace side of the feet down, the toenails spreading and rooted. And as you do that, you'll need to keep plugging in that inner ankle towards the midline between your knees, towards the midline between the thigh bones moving back, and then the tailbone. As the tailbone roots, bow forward, and we'll take cactus arms. And just think of this as an abdominal drill. Strengthen the lower abs, keep breathing. Thighs back, tailbone long, keep breathing. Now energetically press the elbows downward as if there was a shelf underneath them, but expand the rib cage up. Pull the upper arm bone back and start to lift the sternum. Stack yourself up, belly button back, rib cage back. Now open the throat just enough that the base of your skull feels like it's lined up with your sacrum. Now, as you press the elbows gently forward in this direction where your heart is, forward towards the front plane of the body, can you pull the head of the arm bones towards the back plane of the body? Use the seesaw principle. Now lift yourself up so there's no pressure on your lower back. Elevate the ribs with breath. And now use it in reverse, stack it up, and come to all fours. Extend right leg back behind you, cross it behind the left, look left. Inhale, center. Extend left leg back behind you, cross it behind the right. Look right, scissor the inner thighs. And go all the way back to your first cow cat where it was behind the base of the ribs. So stabilize the lower belly and waistline and puff up behind the heart. And back to center. And we'll have a seat. Cross your shins. Flex your ankles. And that was your back bend practice of the day. It was not a super deep, wow, the crowd kind of back bend, but I think it's actually healthier if we learn how to back off and stack ourselves up, because the deeper in a back bend you go, you hold the same integrity, you hold the same accountability, and we just learn how each vertebrae has to then trust the one that's below it, and the upper body creates form and function to hold the integrity of that really free part of ourselves. Please twist to your right. And even here, the head of the arm, the chin wants to jut forward. So if you pull the head of the arm bones back by broadening your elbows, then you can lift your throat onto that stable heart. Inhale, let's take that right hand over to the left knee and bow into the heart. Find lumbar curve, reaching the pubic bone a little bit more down towards the mat. And keep the back body full as you unwind the left arm. Broaden and open, twisting. Elbows go wide, head of the arm bones move back. Then the top of the throat moves back. Now breathe into your beautiful, radiant self. Let all of that just expand from the inside out. Use the pose to clear out cobwebs. Use the breath as the energetic that's combusting stagnation and receiving illumination. Inhale, let's take that left arm across to the right knee and bow into the heart. So FYI, the seated Sukhasana twist is, obviously, because I use it all the time, my favorite way to counterpose back bends and to bring us into a conclusion. Stack yourself up as you take each hand to its respective same leg. Inner body bright. Breath in. Head of the arm bones back. Breath out. Now close your eyes, either 80 to 90 or all the way. 80 to 90% or all the way. And it's important. In the Anusara yoga practice, we don't have to end with a Shavasana. We can end with either a meditation and or a Shavasana. So think of this seated pose as your final relaxation, where you hold the actions of the practice with as least amount of effort as needed. To be the same way we enter a corpse pose. We create the actions, hold them, and then slowly back off of the effort and let the body's innate wisdom create the ease within the posture. Radiance and rooted, inner body bright, anchored through the hips and connected to the heart. And how is this a a recipe for a brilliant rest of your day. See yourself out there in a time of need, a time when you get distracted and pulled into the chaos of life. The willfulness of a lower vibration. And see yourself find a deep breath and the power of the heart. Hands to heart center. And you can choose to use this Om to cast a net out there for yourself when you need it, or you can send it to somebody else that you know needs a little bit of radiance and root in their life today. Deep breath in, big breath out. Inhale. Thank you. Namaste.